Let's start with something no one has ever dared to tell you directly. You are trapped. Not by society, not by fate, not even by others, by yourself. You've built a prison with your own hands, laying down each brick through the decisions you made out of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of disappointing others. Every time you stayed silent when you wanted to scream, every time you smiled when you were crumbling inside, you laid another brick. And now, that suffocating weight in your chest, it isn't stress. It's the unbearable pressure of a life designed for everyone but you. What's most painful is that no one asked you to make these sacrifices. No one demanded you give up your freedom, your voice, your authenticity. You handed it over willingly, chained yourself to the expectations of others in exchange for fleeting approval. You've sold fragments of your soul for applause that fades before you can even enjoy it. Now, when you try to look inward to see what remains of the real you, what do you find? A blurred reflection, pieces shaped by fear, insecurity, and the pathological need to fit in. You're not who you used to be. You're who the world told you to become. They told you that control would save you, that if you could manage every part of your life, your image, your words, your actions, everything would turn out fine. But here's the secret no one admits. Absolute control is an illusion. It's a beautiful lie designed to keep you distracted, busy, always preparing, but never living. The more you obsess over control, the more anxious, disconnected, and empty you feel. You don't live, you maintain, protect, and polish an identity built on the fear of being seen for who you really are. Have you ever wondered why you still feel lost, even though you've done everything right? It's because what you have isn't really yours. Your success, your relationships, even your thoughts are tainted by the constant need for external validation. And the more you chase approval, the further you drift from your true self. Michel de Montaigne saw this clearly centuries ago. We aren't imprisoned by society. We're trapped by our own desperate attempts to please it. The fear of criticism, the obsession with perfection, the addiction to approval, these are the chains we wear with pride. But what if I told you that the very detachment you feared is actually your path to liberation? What if letting go of the image, of the expectations, of the constant performance is exactly what would set you free? The rope you're gripping so tightly, the one you think is keeping you safe, is the same rope that's strangling you. The paradox is brutal. The more you try to control your life, the more it controls you. The more you try to be accepted, the more you disappear. And the harder you resist change, the more violently it arrives. Life was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to be experienced. And letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Wisdom to release the fear of being judged. Wisdom to stop pretending. Wisdom to allow yourself to live fully, even if that means failing, being misunderstood, or starting from nothing. Imagine for a moment who you'd be if you no longer feared judgment. What would you create? How would you speak? That version of yourself, the one without mental chains, that's the real you. The rest is just armor you forgot how to take off. But here's the dark truth most won't say aloud. You're terrified to take off the armor because deep down, you don't know who you are without it. Your identity has become so entangled with other people's expectations that you fear there might be nothing left beneath it. Yet Montaigne whispered a truth from his silent tower that echoes to this day. When you finally release what you are not, you begin to see, clearly, powerfully, what you are. Freedom isn't found in fighting for approval. It's found in walking away from the need for it. This isn't about motivational quotes or surface-level advice. It's about confronting your life as it is and finally saying, I no longer need to be who I'm not. I no longer need to perform. I no longer need to control everything just to feel safe. Are you ready to do that? Or will you cling to the illusion of control while it quietly erodes your spirit? The decision is yours, and it's the beginning of a journey, not of achievement, but of return. back to yourself. A self you abandoned long ago in pursuit of a success that was never truly yours. Most people believe they're chasing their dreams. But what if I told you that many of the goals you've been running toward were never yours to begin with? You've been climbing ladders built by others, chasing images of success inherited from parents, society, or peers, without ever asking if the destination truly belonged to you. And now, as you stand higher than ever, what do you see? A vision that ignites your soul, or just a distorted reflection of someone else's ambition? We worship success, convinced it will bring peace. But have you ever stopped to ask, whose success is it you're chasing? Maybe you've checked off every box, the right degree, the right job, the right network, and yet something still feels missing. That quiet ache in the middle of the night? It's not confusion. It's your ignored essence begging to be heard. Montaigne realized something dangerous, that true success isn't applause, wealth, or position. It's living in complete alignment with your nature. But to do that, you must first remember who you were before the world told you who to be. That's the real work, not building a reputation, but reclaiming an identity. You've been pretending for so long, you've forgotten it's a performance. The image you maintain, the mask you wear, the language you speak, none of it reflects the person underneath. But your mind isn't fooled. It rebels, it whispers, and eventually it shouts. Anxiety, stress, and emptiness aren't random. They're warnings. You weren't born to play a character in your own life. And here lies the real tragedy. Most people would rather stay in a comfortable lie than face the terrifying risk of living as themselves. So I ask you, which path will you choose? Will you be one of the rare few who dares to meet themselves, or one of the many who drift through life sedated by routine? Because routine is the perfect anesthetic. It keeps you distracted, busy, safe. But that safety comes with a cost: your freedom. And true freedom isn't doing whatever you want whenever you want. It's having the courage to be radically authentic, even when it means letting others down, breaking rules, or starting over from zero. You may wonder, but what if I lose everything I've built by being real? And here comes the paradox. If you need to pretend to keep it, then it was never truly yours. Real relationships, meaningful work, and worthy goals can withstand your authenticity. In fact, only when you're authentic do you truly see what deserves to stay and what was just taking up space. You have far less to lose than you think, but infinitely more to gain. That leap into the unknown, it's the price of reclaiming a life that actually belongs to you. Montaigne's philosophy of detachment was never about indifference. It was about clarity. You don't need to abandon everything you love. You just need to understand that nothing you cling to out of fear can ever nourish you. The moment you stop clinging, you begin to live. But most people live in fear of losing what they have, simply because they've never dared to discover who they are without it. So they hold on to relationships, titles, images, never realizing that real life begins when you stop clinging to what no longer serves you. And now we reach something deeper still: the stories we tell ourselves. Each of us lives inside a personal narrative, often inherited, rarely questioned. Stories about who we are, what we're capable of, what we deserve. Stories that shape how we act and how others see us. But what if you could rewrite that story? What if you stopped casting yourself as the victim and stepped into the role of author? That shift, that internal rewrite, may be the most revolutionary act of all. Because the narrative you live by isn't just a reflection of your identity, it creates it. Here's the final truth. Your life is not a closed book. You are not a finished story. Every moment is a chance to rewrite a line, revise a chapter, or change the entire plot. The scars can become symbols. The mistakes can become turning points. And the uncertainty, the terrifying not knowing, might just be where the beauty lies. Because sometimes, the greatest stories don't end with resolution. but with the courage to keep writing. So if this message spoke to you, leave the phrase, "I rewrite my story," in the comments. Let that be your beginning. Because the next paragraph, if you dare to write it, might just change everything.